So the Vancouver Marathon, I've done it before. Why do it again? Got my medal. I did this in 2019. It was my slowest marathon that I've ever done. I did it in 4 hours and 12 minutes and 54 seconds. But there's a reason behind that, and it's a pretty crazy tale. I started my training on January 14th of 2019 for the Vancouver Marathon, and within 2 weeks of training I went out for a long run, which with a group of people, something called Run to Beer. And it turned out that the long run happened to be on one of the coldest and worst days of the winter in Toronto. It was like a polar vortex, and there was snow on the ground, and I did 16.4 kilometers and got frostbite. The frostbite was not much fun. It hit several of my toes, including my big toe, my right foot. It knocked me out of my training for 5.5 weeks. When you're doing a 16-week marathon training plan, that's a significant amount of time. Resumed training on March 1st at an accelerated pace. So I was pushing myself to kind of catch up, and I thought, well, I can still do a marathon in 9.5 weeks. And that was probably my second mistake, which was trying to do too much, too soon, and ramp up. My third mistake was actually still trying to think that I could do the marathon at a record pace for me. Things actually started well. The race was on May 5th of 2019. I had a very good start to the race. When I look back at my times now, I was running way too quick. 14K I started, we hit a hill. I climbed to the top of that hill, and then I just kind of felt something a little bit off with my left foot. By about the 14th kilometer, my foot was hurting, and it was getting progressively worse. I could still run on it, and I did still run on it, and that may have also been a big mistake. It did not get better, and in fact it got worse. Around the 20-kilometer mark, I actually ended up connecting with another runner who was wearing sandals, and he was walking across the Broad Street Bridge. And I remember walking up to him, and by then I was done. Like, my foot was in incredible pain. And I kind of ran up to next to him. I said, "Hey, do you mind if I join you?" And he said, "No, not at all." And we ended up having a really good chat. And he had run a number of races. His name was Yehuda. He had a really good philosophy, and he actually allowed me to kind of just like shed my expectations for the race and just enjoy it. So I actually ended up running the rest of the race with him, walking. We actually ran for a little bit or jogged for a bit, and then would stop and walk for a bit more. And we ended up crossing the finish line together. And so 2 weeks later, I ended up going to the doctor, and they decided to take some x-rays and ultrasound, and I got a call from my doctor after the results came in, and they said, "Did you know you broke your foot?" I said, so I had actually broken the foot during the marathon. I attribute that to ramping up my speed, my pace and volume of running way too quick, doing too short of a training session, and just pushing myself too hard. This time round, I'm hoping for a much different outcome. And I think I'm better prepared, I'm ready, and I think I'll be able to do a much better performance than I did back in 2019. But got 3 more weeks left of training, so we shall see. You can watch me on my Wednesday interval session on the track while I go over the training week. Week 13 began with an easy run on Tuesday, which was 6 kilometers. Wednesday was my track intervals workout, which involved 3 intervals of 8 minutes at a 10K pace, followed by a break, and then another 3 intervals at 10K pace, and that amounted to 12K. On Friday, I did a threshold run, which involved a slow start and then 20 minutes at race pace, and then a cool down for 20 minutes. And then Sunday was my long run. That involved 90 minutes at an easy pace, or 15 kilometers, and then 1 hour at race pace to cap the week at 59.2 kilometers.
And is done. Ooh.
That last hour was tough.
The last 1
1 hour,
1 hour
at race pace.
Yeah.
So, more or
The
less.
whole hour was tough.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad it's done.
Yeah. Me too.
We can celebrate with chocolate milk.
It's already there.